Say the words Volga River, and you think Russia. One of the largest rivers in the country's European half, Volga came to embody the Russian culture and soul. From poetry to folk tales, it is a symbol of Russia, both eternal and beautiful. But few know that centuries ago, an ancient civilization that built a great empire on Volga's banks wasn't Russian at all. Neither was it a Christian nation, as the majority of Russia is today. It was a strong and powerful Muslim kingdom called the Great Bulgar, which favored its own free-spirited flavor of Islam. The tribes that formed the Great Bulgar settled in the fertile valleys between two rivers, Volga and Kama, way before the Slavic tribes arrived there. Back then, Volga had a different name. It was named Itil. And the nascent Russia was called Kievan Rus, and was situated farther west, around Kiev, the modern-day Ukraine. The Great Bulgar Kingdom had appeared on ancient maps. According to Arab and Persian geographers, it was the northmost Muslim country in the world, located in the very last corner of the earth, the 7th climate zone. Muslim texts describe the Bulgars as a northern nation dwelling along the river Itil and east of the Rus people. The Bulgar city is known for its beautiful cathedral mosque that had 20 columns carved from white limestone and an 80-foot tall minaret soaring into the sky. Today, the town and the archaeological site of Bulgar lay in the middle of Tatarstan, a republic within the Russian Federation with a mixed population of Russians and Tatars. Like their Bulgar ancestors, Tatars are also a Muslim nation. For them, as well as for many practicing Russian Muslims, the Bulgar is a holy place where they come to celebrate their heritage every year, gathering around the recently built majestic white mosque, which quickly got dubbed a northern Taj Mahal for its beautiful architecture. With its minarets soaring into the sky and walls decorated with Quran verses, the creamy white edifice attracts not only religious worshippers, but many other travelers. Inside, an intricate light arrangement welcomes visitors into a calm and peaceful setting, whether they're coming to pray or simply look. But exactly how Islam reached so far north from the traditional Muslim regions, like Persia or Baghdad, still puzzles historians. To piece the puzzle together, one would have to travel about 1,000 years back in time, when Baghdad ambassador Ahmad ibn Fadlan journeyed his way up north from Baghdad to Bulgar. Back then, his 2,500-mile-long voyage took over a year. Today, reaching the ancient site takes only a couple of hours from the Tatarstan capital of Kazan. But uncovering the mysteries of Bulgar still must begin with a journey. This road, which weaves through the fields and stretches along Volga's shores, does more than take one from an urban metropolis to a small archaeological site in the middle of the Volga cliffs. It takes one from the present to the past. As the urban landmarks disappear from view, replaced by blooming fields and Volga's shores blending into the horizon, the immediacy of modern-day life begins to fade, and the feeling of eternity begins to settle. It is somewhere on these riverbanks the great Bulgars fought off the Russian princes attacking from the west. It is on these fields that they fought and lost to the Mongolian Khan Batu, who came from the east. And it is on these meadows that Ibn Fadlan's diplomatic mission, exhausted after months on foot, first saw the Bulgar capital looming in the horizon. King Almush, who was expecting the guests, sent an envoy to bring the travelers to his quarters. The story began the year before when King Almush sent his ambassadors to inform the Caliph of Baghdad that his kingdom is accepting Islam. He was asking for money to build a fortress to protect his nation from the attacking neighboring tribes. The Caliph didn't have money, but dispatched Ibn Fadlan on a diplomatic mission to Bulgar. The mission first followed the established caravan routes through Bukhara, which is now a part of Uzbekistan, but instead of going all the way to the east, turned northward and went up to Volga. It was a precarious journey through unknown lands, hostile tribes, rough terrains, and unpredictable weather, but the mission managed to reach the most northern Muslim state. The archaeological site isn't open to traffic. All visitors must leave their cars in the parking lot and take a small, slow shuttle to see the ruins. Slowing down is the key. Time moves slow here, just like it moved centuries ago. To appreciate the history, the burial tombs, and the ruins of Khan's place, you have to slow down too. Ibn Fadlan got to see the city in its glory. He saw well-built houses, merchants, markets, and a beautiful mosque. The Bulgar culture also had well-developed medical sciences. They used simple medical instruments. Their doctors contributed to the medieval medical books. Their medical texts spoke about the health attributes of honey, the cleansing qualities of birch leaves, and the healing potentials of various herbs. Bulgar doctors knew to check the patient's health status by pulse and had an understanding of the human embryo development. The Bulgar kingdom held many surprises for Ibn Fadlan. Coming from a desert culture, he was impressed by the local nature. The soil wasn't sandy, but rather a rich and black dirt, which he described as smelly. He was impressed by the amount of trees, by the big dense forests, by heavy thunderstorms, and by snakes that didn't seem to be venomous. Ibn Fadlan was also surprised to see that while Bulgars are already practicing Islam, their cultural norms are quite different from those he knew. The Bulgar women weren't subservient. They didn't wear veils and didn't cover their faces. They rode horses and followed their husbands onto battlefields. They didn't hide from public view and took part in politics. The Bulgar queen joined her king on the throne. Bulgars were pious but not prudish. Ibn Fadlan wrote in astonishment that both men and women would undress and bathe in the river next to each other, casually and worry-free. Despite these differences, Bulgars considered themselves devout Muslims. Moreover, they almost converted Kievan prince Vladimir the Red Sun when he was shopping around for a good religion to establish in his own country. The Bulgars' ambassadors arrived with a conversion proposal, but their mission ran into one serious problem: alcohol abstinence. For the drink-loving Russians who greatly enjoyed their wines and meads, giving up alcohol was impossible. Trying to impose such a rule would probably cause a mutiny in Vladimir's army. "Wine is the very joy of our lives," Vladimir told the Bulgars, and accepted Christianity. The great Bulgar kingdom existed from the 9th to the 12th centuries. Wedged between Asia and Europe, it grew to be a strong and powerful state that fought the Mongol tribes invading from the east and the Russian troops challenging them from the west. It was destroyed by the Mongolian Khan Batu in the early 13th century. Historians believed that the Bulgars mixed with other local tribes and adopted a different language. Eventually, they became known as the Volga Tatars, who built their capital, Kazan, up the river, which in turn fell to Ivan the Terrible in 1552. For the next several centuries, Russians and Tatars lived next to each other, tightly intertwined culturally. They built houses, plowed fields, milked cows, and baked bread in similar ways. But Islam took hold in the region. Even though Ibn Fadlan found that Bulgars were already practicing Islam when he came here in 922, that year is considered to be the official arrival of Islam to Volga. Centuries later, the unearthed Bulgar city became a place of pilgrimage for the devout Russian Muslims. The region's religious leaders say that those who can't afford a Hajj to Mecca should do a Hajj to Bulgar. The Islam practiced here kept its free-spirited flavor, allowing men and women to attend festive holidays, dances, and competitions together. And thanks to Ibn Fadlan, who wrote a book about his journey, the Russian Muslims managed to preserve the valuable tidbits of Bulgar's history they can celebrate today.